Hello everyone, so today it's my last day here in Prague, so I have until 3 p.m. basically. So we are going to visit the military museum of Prague. Alright, let's have a look, let's see how it is a museum. So I've just made it here. Just got this map, it's for free. The entrance in this museum. Let's go to start it in the second floor. Let's take the lift here. Alright, let's start our tour here in this museum. Starting here our tour, and here we have a medieval soldier from the beginnings of the Bohemians, I mean the Czechs, from the Great Moravia. So Moravia was initially the province of Rome in its beginnings, which later became occupied after Rome by the barbarians. And so they established the Moravia kingdom here. So apparently here we can grab a gladius. This is a big sword. Look at this. This is what the Romans used to use back then. Look at that. It's like, and it's heavy, as you can see. Well, you got the barbarian tools, but we're not gonna pick that up. Just use the Romans. Right. Before I cut myself. Now here we have a knight from Bohemia. She's from the Battle of Crécy, 1346.
Nejzávažnější poranění zjištěným na kostře krále je.
So just imagine yourselves facing the Czech infantry back then, from Bohemia. Look at that. This is how it would, this is how it would be a battle back in the days. Cavalry charges, infantry against cavalry. And then they would use this kind of tools. These were the weapons back in the days. So now we are around in the 16th, 17th century. We got here some bones of people that got injured in one of those battles and eventually died. Well, we got some stabs and shots and gunshot wounds in the skulls here, as you can see. And this will be a picture of the battlefield back in the days. Gunshots, spears, swords, all sorts of weapons, cannons, and then of course cavalry. Let's see what we have here. Oh, there's no sword here. these muskets here from 17th century. These are huge. Well, now we are going to check 18th century to the First World War. Let's have a look here. So this is how it looked like. The uniforms in the 18th century, during the age of the Enlightenment. This is how a doctor would treat someone with wounds back in the days of Napoleonic Wars. Imagine you would have been shot there. They had to remove the bullet. And then luckily, you would survive. It's time to add to most recent time from 1740 to 1914, so until the First World War. So I'm now here in the First World War part of the museum, where, well, Czechia and Czechoslovakia belong to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, so they fought with the Austro-Hungarians during the First World War. We have some more weapons. These those who fight in the trenches back in the days in the First World War. We got more material there. And this is how it looked like the warfare back in the days in the First World War. Now I'm just in the trenches of the First World War, and this is how it looked like back in the days. Like sandbags, this kind of glasses coming here. This is how people lived. Well, it's full of smoke now. So I just imagine we are in the trenches, probably in Belgium. Everything is collapsing. Soldier who doesn't want to fight, suffering PTSD. So we have just escaped the horrors of the trenches. Now I'm here in this room, where we have all the technological advancements back in the days, and all these weapons, these machine guns that they were used. engines for airplanes. But there were many Czechoslovaks that were fighting for France and for Italy back in the day. So they were on the opposite sides. Most people that live in those places, they would be fighting right there in their own places. So for France and for Italy, for instance. And after the First World War, Czechoslovakia became independent, and their army was trained and reorganized by the French. So they're like similar French uniforms. So before the Second World War started, some Czechoslovakians went to serve. They fought in the Spanish Civil War in the Republican side until Franco won, and well, they had to get out of there. And then, obviously, Czechoslovakia was annexed by Germany. So before the Second World War started, many Czechoslovakians fought in the Spanish Civil War, but most of them they were on the Republican side. But Franco won the war, and then they had to get out of there. Eventually, Germany occupied Czechoslovakia. And so eventually, Czechoslovakia was annexed by Germany. Because there were many Germans living here, the Sudeten Germans. Well, and that was one of the reasons that led to the annexation of Czechoslovakia back in the days. And so in 1939 there was the annexation of Czechoslovakia and they were annexed into the Third Reich. And during the Second World War, there were Czechoslovakians fighting on both sides. Some were fighting for the Reich, others were fighting for the Allies. The statues of Lenin, the Czech leader, and Stalin. Well, and this is the end of our tour to the museum. And then after the Second World War, Czechoslovakia became one of the countries of the Pact of Warsaw, which was influenced by the Soviet Union. So, and Czechoslovakia was occupied by the Soviets during their advance towards Germany in the Second World War. And we got a portrait of Joseph Stalin himself. And this is the beginning of the Cold War, the Iron Curtain, where it will be until 1991, until the end of the Soviet Union. Until it collapsed in 1991. Alright, and so here now we finished our tour to the museum. I mean, it's for free, it's really great if you want to know all the history about Czechia or Czechoslovakia, once it was called. Yeah, it's really great. So you should come here if you have the chance and check the museum. It's really nice. Well, now I just gotta go, take my stuff, and I'm leaving Prague. I'm going back to Vienna. Alright, let's just head out.